Hello, I'm Michael Chigani, and this is Straight Talk. With me today is Eugene Chen. Now, Eugene, you are the chairman of the board of advisors for RTHK, Radio
Yes, that's
Television,
correct, yes.
Hong Kong. And recently, because of the coronavirus, there's been claims of censorship and non-censorship and a lot of back and forth about whether RTHK should be censored or not censored. Before I go into that subject, I want to point out that you're also a dentist.
Yes, I am.
And I just want to ask you this. People are afraid to go out, and everybody's been told to stay home. Should people go and visit the dentist?
The profession has very clear guidelines on this. I think the profession is fully aware that the public is concerned. Not about going to the dentist or doctors.
But to a haircut or a facial, people don't dare go, right?
Yeah. But we've got very clear guidelines. I mean, if you need to go to see a dentist for your regular checkup or for any emergency or for any treatment, I think it's up to the patient concerned. But let me assure you, the Hong Kong dentists have always been practicing a very strict set of infection control. We have always been wearing masks, disposable gloves, and a lot of all instruments are fully sterilized. In particular to this coronavirus infection, we do have added measures, such as we do measure your temperature. We do ask about whether you have any symptoms. They're all on the form. We have a questionnaire asking you whether you have been in contact with any possible infected patient or close contacted persons, or ever been to any places that have high rate of such epidemics. And after that, the dentist will decide. If the patient is of high risk, we would refer you to the appropriate place to continue treatment.
But you know, as a dentist, you put your hand in the patient's mouth, you use drills. People feel unsafe, right?
Some do, but most don't. People who go to dentists, they know they have to, there's a reason to do so, and because with our infection control standards, and I mean, we are very vigilant.
If you've got a really painful tooth, then go. But if it's just normal cleaning, maybe you can wait. Is that right?
That will be up to the individual, and I'm sure the dentist will help you to decide whether you can delay or you can come another time. Actually, we all do that. The patient's health is of paramount importance.
Okay.
And we must not only look after the patient, the dentist, our nurses, and our staff. I mean, we look after the whole society.
Okay, now we'll move on to the reason I invited you to come here. As I said, you are the chairman of the board of advisors for RTHK. Now, in the past few weeks, there has been a controversy involving an RTHK production. It's called Headliner
Yes.
in Chinese.
Yes.
It's a satire. And the police commissioner found fault with it because in one of the episodes, it said that the police had hoarded a lot of face masks, right? Mm-hmm. And they said that in a joking way. But it was a fact that the police had been given a large supply of face masks, right, to perform their duties. So the satire made fun of that, and then the police commissioner complained. You seemed to have sided with the police commissioner as the chairman of the board of advisors.
Michael, on what evidence do you have the chairman and the board has sided with the police? We haven't sided with anybody. We are doing our job as the board of advisors. We look at editorial principles, programming standards, and quality. And that's all we do. We are an advisory board of advisory nature. We don't deal with day-to-day operations or staffing matters.
What did you advise RTHK to do?
We have, after a meeting with our director of broadcasting, we have issued 3 advice. The first advice being all programs produced by the RTHK is under the remit of the RTHK Charter. There shall be no exception, no exemption, in particular to paragraph 4, where it states specifically that we have to produce accurate and impartial news, information, perspective analysis. And in paragraph 7, talk about editorial independence. It must be accurate and authoritative when you disseminate information, as well as being fair. So that's what we said. And the second advice we gave is since there are a lot of complaints or compliments on the issue, the director and the management should look at it diligently and be serious. And we look forward to receiving a report of the complaints, which is part of our job. The third advice we gave to the director is that, according to paragraph 16 of the charter, that the director is most welcome to consult us on any issues pertaining to editorial principles, programming standards and quality, and in particular one issue that the director must give due weight and consideration to all the advice we gave. And if he doesn't follow, he has to report to us and explain the reason why. This is all what the charter empowers us to do.
I understand that, Eugene, but the thing is, news is news. If you have the news, you report things in a factual way.
Agree.
But when you have satire, satire is made from facts, but turned into satirical comments.
Agree.
And humor, right? There are no borderlines. Can you define the borderlines for satire? And for example, in the United States and in the UK, there are shows that take a daily dig at the government, at Donald Trump, at the Prime Minister.
Yes, fully aware.
At the Queen,
Yes, yes.
Because you cannot have a border for satire. So how can you say, follow the charter, it must be factual? Satire is not factual.
I beg to differ on this issue, because we have talked to, firstly, satirical shows are fun to watch. Mm-hmm. It's good for the society. Sometimes it's funny. However, I've visited BBC in London, I've visited ABC in Australia, and I've asked them repeatedly again, what are their editorial standards and principles? They said it must be based on facts. Depends on how you present it. It's a way of presentation. So Hong Kong RTHK Charter say exactly the same thing.
So have you watched Yes Minister?
Yes.
That's not based on facts, right? It makes the Prime Minister out to be an idiot. So how can you say that based on facts?
You can still make the Prime Minister look an idiot if it's a factual thing. He didn't.
Factually, he's not an idiot, but it makes him out to be an idiot.
I didn't say that. I said whatever the show wants to portray the image has to come from facts. What we're saying from the Board of Advisors, because we received a letter from the Police Commissioner writing to the Director of Broadcasting, listing out that a lot of the issues are not factual. And we know very well on the Charter, as well as the RTHK producer guidelines, saying factual accuracy is of paramount importance.
Well,
That's the reason why we have written to Director of Broadcasting, asking him to explain to us whether the show in question fulfilling the Charter. That's all we have done.
But it is factual that the police received a lot of face masks, and RTHK then made a satire out of that fact.
There are, if you watch that section closely, there are a lot more than one fact they have mentioned, as I understand. And since there's already a complaint being lodged to the Communication Authority, I'm sure
about 6,000 complaints, but about over 30,000 supports.
Yeah, this is what we've been told. But anyway, the numbers is one thing, but please understand that RTHK is not only a government department, but also a public broadcaster. And for a public broadcaster, it has to be monitored by the Communications Authority. And now, since there are people lodging complaints, whether one or doesn't matter how many, the Communication Authority will look into that. That's not our remit of the board.
Would you agree, would you support it if not RTHK, but a private commercial television station runs a similar satire show? Do you have a problem with that?
I don't have a problem with satire shows. Satire shows are great to have. It must follow the Charter. It stays categorically.
No, a commercial station doesn't have that same charter as RTHK.
If a commercial station doesn't have a charter, that means they will have to follow the other rules laid down by the Communication Authority.
Are you not worried, Eugene, that by going this step, you actually are trying to censor the media?
No, not at all. Not at all. We are not censoring anything.
If the Broadcasting Authority says, okay, what you did was wrong, you cannot do it again, that would be censorship.
However, being a public broadcaster, it has to be monitored by the Communication Authority. That will be, it's their job to see whether they are complying with the rules. We are waiting for the results. But hope you understand, as an advisory board, we are part of RTHK. We are part of the family. We want RTHK to prosper and do well. We never said satirical shows are no good. We have made no such comment. We don't like censorship. We embrace on editorial independence.
Was it right for the police commissioner to issue an open letter to the director of broadcasting? They're both on the same level, right?
Allow me to fill you with some facts. Being on the board of advisors, one of our functions is to receive reports of complaints to matters pertaining to editorial principles, programming standards, and quality, right? In the last, since December, I think the police had written a few times to RTHK, whom we were copied in later by RTHK. This time, when the police commissioner wrote to Director of Broadcasting on the 15th of February, the letter was copied to us. So we took the letter, hey, two government departments, not on the equal terms, in a time of where we all have to work closely together to fight the epidemic. This is not something that anyone would like to see. So as a responsible citizen of Hong Kong, we felt, the whole board felt, that we have to respond to the police commissioner saying that we are concerned and we'll look into it as soon as possible.
All right. I'm going to sorry, just for a moment.
Yes.
Susan, don't go away. Thanks for staying with us. This is Straight Talk. With me is Eugene Chan. Eugene Chan, you are the chairman of the Board of Advisors for RTHK. And we're talking about claims of and counterclaims of press censorship during this coronavirus epidemic. Now, as I said before the break, the Commissioner of Police found that it was not right for RTHK to produce a show which was a satire.
No, didn't say that. He said that they were complaining the facts contained in the satire is wrong. That's all they are saying.
But as I said, satire is not made completely of facts. The news is.
Yes.
But satire is not. You know, satire uses facts to do a spin on something.
I agree.
That's what satire
I fully
is.
understand.
It's not totally based on A, B, C, and D facts.
However,
that's news. That's a newscast.
Yeah. If it's news, of course it has to be factual and accurate, right? But under the charter, it doesn't say we have exception or exemption for satirical shows. So as a board of advisors...
So we shouldn't have satires in Hong Kong?
No, you should, as long as it's factual. For example...
It's a contradiction.
All right. No, it's not, I don't agree. If they do have an excessive amount of, if they have X amount of supplies, if you use it as a joke or whatever, that's fine. But what they're saying is, I mean, I don't want to get into the details of it, they're claiming it's not true. That's all what they're saying is not true. For example, they're saying the police, they don't do daily rounds anymore. They said it's not true. So it's basically two different directions or whatever they're saying. So one has to prove then they're saying is the right thing. So,
but again, as I said, it's very difficult to define the borders of satire. As I said, if you watch Yes Minister, Yes Prime Minister, and the daily shows on American TV networks, it's satire.
Yeah, but some of the satires, for example, they will record a section of what the politician has said, and they make like, for example, with Donald Trump, President Donald Trump recently, they talk about using him as an example. It's factual. What he said, you laugh at him. I think it's perfectly fine. It's funny. But what we're saying is, according to our charter, where we are formed under the charter, we have to advise the director. He's the chief editor. He's responsible for all the show's editorial decisions. We are there to advise him. We're not censoring him. We're telling him that we must follow the charter to making sure we fulfill our purposes and missions.
Is it time for the charter to change so that you can have satire in the interest of media freedom?
Something that we can talk about, but definitely at the moment, the charter is the charter we go by. See, Michael, Hong Kong is a legal. We are renowned for our legal independence, right? We are a process-based city, and we follow the rules diligently. On the board, I'm one of 13 persons.
As a chairman of the Board of Advisors, to perhaps loosen the charter a little bit?
Let's not go into that because we haven't discussed it at the board level. But let me tell you, on the board we have 13 members, and Director of Broadcasting is a 14th member. Of the 13 members, all appointed on a personal capacity, broad-based, some people from the media, journalists, legal sector, education, arts and culture, minorities, and accounting, technology. Me being a professional. Do you know that the advice we gave to Director Broadcasting is unanimous? We have consulted
because
the
all
media
the
person.
people, all the appointees are appointed by the government.
No,
Don't
say
of
that.
course it's unanimous.
No, you can't say that.
Who put all the board of directors members there?
If you look at our list, we are all representing different sectors, and everyone will have the different personal feelings.
Is there a member from the democracy camp?
Yes.
Who?
Dick Ji-yun. He's there.
Who?
Dick Ji-yun. Yeah, he is there.
I don't know him.
Dick, you know Dick Ji-yun? Yeah.
Doesn't matter. But
we have.
And
we have people from the media school, the journalist school. We ask them. They all agree to me saying that it must be factual.
Wouldn't it be an idea to put a member from the Democratic Party or the
do you know one thing?
Party
interesting comment for you to know. The board doesn't have any politician. I mean, we can have our political beliefs, but none of them belong to any political party. When I mentioned Dick Ji-yun's name, he used to be a legislator many years ago. He's from the Democratic camp. I mean, he claims that as well.
I don't even remember him. But in any case, now, let me point this out. You say there is no media censorship.
Definitely not. No,
okay.
Not at all. Not from our board anyway.
Well, but is there media censorship in Hong Kong?
I see no evidence of it.
Okay. Well, let me give you an example of a very clear evidence that happened just last week.
Yes.
Professor Yuen Kwok Yung, a very, very well-known microbiologist, wrote an article saying, in a newspaper, saying that it is nothing wrong to refer to the coronavirus as the Wuhan virus or the Wuhan pneumonia.
I read that, yeah.
Because that's where it started. In scientific papers and in scientific circles, you would say it's COVID-19.
19, yes.
But, you know, in everyday language, there's nothing wrong with calling it the Wuhan virus. He had to retract and withdraw that column.
Okay.
That is censorship.
But do you know why he withdrew? Why did he withdraw?
I don't know, but he obviously came under pressure. Why would he withdraw otherwise? Why would he withdraw otherwise? He wrote
Michael,
it.
let me say one thing.
Yeah.
It's my personal feeling that in the present day, especially Hong Kong, there has been too many conspiracy theories. With Professor Yuen, if he withdraw an article, could have been his friends telling him maybe he felt that maybe it was more appropriate.
Not true.
How do you know?
I can tell you for a fact.
Because I don't know.
I can tell for a fact that I asked somebody very, very close to him, was he pressured to withdraw? And that person said yes.
Okay.
So he was pressured.
From
and the
who?
very next day he was on Shenzhen TV.
From who? Who pressured him?
You know who pressured him, right?
I don't. No, I'm saying all these accusations
if somebody is using the word Wuhan virus, you know the only people it'll upset are you know who, right? So, let's
Michael,
put two and two together.
Thank you for bringing up this matter. I mean, let's not dwell into it because I'm not Professor Yuen. I don't know what's happening. But let's look at this. In a society, if you want Hong Kong to prosper, to do well, trust is very important. Now, the trust amongst people, politicians, government, and the people are all-time low. We all agree to that, right? So when that happens, what can we do? As a professional, I believe in systems. We must follow the existing rules. So let's rise above the personal feeling. The Charter states that, so I just follow the Charter. Let's follow the Charter until one day, until when there's a changes. I think we must follow some rules in order to rebuild Hong Kong. You see my point?
Can the rule be, now, you know, as the chairman of the board of advisors for RTHK,
yes.
If RTHK News, supposing, this is hypothetical, okay?
Okay.
Or even the headliner satire show, right? Supposing the headliner satire show does a satire that says that this virus started first in Wuhan, in Hubei province, and then in the beginning it was called the Wuhan virus, and then it evolved into coronavirus, and then it became COVID-19 because the World Health Organization officially called it that.
Yep.
If it then makes a satire out of that and actually refers to it as the Wuhan virus, would that be a problem?
Number one, as a board of advisors, we don't look at day-to-day programs into what they do and what actually they do about.
So if somebody complained, if 2,000 people say you should not have used Wuhan virus, or even in the news, if they say Wuhan virus, explaining that it first started in Wuhan.
I see your point. I see what you're coming at.
And then people complain, and then you, as the chairman of the board of advisors, you will look at these complaints, right? And it will go to the broadcasting authority.
No, it doesn't.
Would that be a problem?
No, it doesn't work that way. If there are complaints with RTHK, if you lodge with RTHK is a very experienced broadcaster. We have our system to deal with the complaints. At the end of the complaint, they let us know the report, and we can comment on what they do.
Do you think it will be valid?
And if they're going to lodge an official complaint to the Communication Authority, it is their job. Our job is advising on receiving on the report. But from what we said earlier, and from what you said, should there be a situation where there's a report saying to us that there's a chronological event of the name changes, and someone make fun out of it being a satirical show? Personally,
do you see a problem with that?
I don't see any problems because it's factual, it's accurate.
So you can use Wuhan virus on RTHK?
No, I didn't say that. I'm saying that if it's proven to be a factual thing.
That's factual. It is factual. Everybody called it the Wuhan virus in the beginning.
If you look at the charter, if you ask an advisor, you ask all my members, we will always base on one thing, the charter. It has to be accurate. It has to be impartial. If it is presented that a fact and impartial, I can't see any reason why you can't do that.
So
personally,
then, if there is a satire that said it started in Wuhan, then it became the coronavirus, then it became COVID-19. People don't even understand what COVID-19 is. And then in the satire, somebody makes a joke and says, oh, let's call it the Wuhan virus. But it's still based on facts. Would you have a problem with that?
Firstly, I'm not qualified to judge that. But personally, from what you're saying, I'll answer you. I see no problem from my personal point of view. But whether it's represent my board, the board isn't here, I haven't talked to them. But from our principle...
As a chairman, you see no problem in that?
As a person, as a professional person, because we are fair. We have to look at the charter. The spirit is being accurate and impartial. And RTHK has such a good name. We are there to enhance it, protect it, and nourish it. Okay,
I've got 30 seconds. You say there is total media freedom in Hong Kong. A lot of media organizations are very worried that journalists were expelled.
It hasn't happened in Hong Kong.
It did. A Financial Times reporter was...
No, if we're referring to the same incident, it's happened in Beijing. It doesn't happen in Hong Kong. Hong Kong is fine.
Well, I've got to close the show, but in fact, those people are not allowed to work in Hong Kong as well. That is also a fact.
This is their matter.
Thank you very much. See you next time. Good evening.
Thank you.